this is the Square Master. It's looking a little squatted right now. Might have to do with the new physics I put on that thing. And, from the side, you might would have thought it was a normal Chevy. It's got that look a little bit, but the body is far too straight to be the real world one. The headlights are definitely custom, nothing like the real world stuff. So that's what keeps this safe and usable because I designed it to be that way. This is my boat trailer if I haven't shown it. Um, so I probably haven't. I don't think I've shown any of the stuff that you're seeing right now other than the Quixotic. But it's okay. This scene is empty, thankfully. Um, Although they're going towards something, I guess. I don't know. The tractor. We need to fire that thing up because, well, we didn't hear it. I mean, I heard it. Y'all didn't hear it. Oh. Now, the gears used to be a lot harder to mess with on purpose, and I made them a little bit more easier because they were really hard to mess with. There is problems in the scene though. Technically shouldn't be showing it off, but I like to show off things when things are broken and not working so smoothly. Um, I rebuilt my entire locomotion system and everything, and been testing different camera collision style things. So that's why my camera is jerking around right now. It's not a worked out thing. Real quick, I just need to make sure all vehicles work though, because the last time I did this, uh,
Thalian door opening.
this broke. Okay.
Thalian door
His
closing.
IK is not set up on this vehicle yet, so that's why he looks like he's setting up there. But can we? Okay, we can drive this thing. Good.
Thalian door opening.
Let's get out before we get stuck. Now,
Thalian door closing.
something happens if you leave a vehicle running, which that one doesn't turn on or off right now, so it might do it. Okay, it didn't. If you're driving, say, the Quixotic or the truck or something, and you exit out and it's still running and you hit enter, even no matter where you are in the map, it'll teleport you back in the driver's seat. That's probably not how it's going to be when I build the final game or whatever. But right now, while I'm testing different things, it's like that because I have built my own custom physics system on my vehicles. I don't use wheel colliders, and um, you'll be able to tell that when I drive this truck. I worked out a different locomotion system for him. It's not polished. Like technically, the scene a while ago was a little bit more smoother than he is right now. But third person has kind of got two different modes. This one right here is the K Forge mode where you can orbit the camera around and it doesn't affect the direction he's going. If you want to run in a direction, you use your like WAS keys since I'm using a keyboard right now. Controller would just use your left analog. There is a cinematic toggle though, where it's almost like your typical 3D games, except not glued to the camera like a freaking bug. I don't know why even high end stuff thinks that looks good when it doesn't, but you're used to it, so that's what you play as. Um, I'm not toggling the mode right now. I could, I guess. Hold on. Let me shrink my screen and hit that. Let's see. Where are you, Big Toes? It's funny your name stayed Big Toe. You're the game. I'm gonna finish the entire game, and his name is deep in the code. Always gonna be Big Toes. There's no need in changing it there. So this is supposed to pull the camera behind him. Oh, it rotated him instead. Okay. So this is what your typical game in third person is kind of like. You move your where you're looking and they rotate towards that direction. Um this one I've got a little bit of slack in on purpose because I didn't want him to feel glued. And it kind of nudges him instead of just directly whipping him around. Now, when you have weapons and stuff like that, there's going to be kind of a fourth mode, but technically it's just what it looks like when aiming. Third person will be its thing. First person is going to be like first person should be and all things. The only thing that's weird is his animation. Where I have his camera attached is on the neck bone. So when he's running and he actually leans forward, your camera is pushed down. Now I can avoid doing that. Right now, that's just how it is because I've been working out other systems. Cinematic mode doesn't do anything in first person. That's what I was trying to say. Like first person will be first person. One thing I'll change is you will be able to free orbit in like like Kforge mode can when you're in cinematic mode, and just when you're moving, it would rotate them. But you can see the difference. My mode, like the original way that I've built it, that I like is you can free orbit around him while you're running around. This is so you can just look around while you're running, and you don't necessarily have to be looking a specific way. Or you could back up or even jog backwards to look cool and things like that. But anyway, we're gonna drive that truck in just a second, and after we do that, I'll get into what I'm working on. So swimming is my latest thing I've been working on. Man, I've changed it two or three times. This is the system that's going to be. It's not polished yet. It's going to get polished. This is the version I'm going to use. Okay, yeah, we broke that thing. I figured that would happen. You know, it happens. Um, I'm guessing I have a thing in there that yeah, it's probably once I become seated. Let me try it without ever entering a vehicle. Like I said, man, I don't like to show all of the polished things, but you're going to see enough details of stuff, and it is what it is. I'm not shy about the stuff that I build. It's not like I'm showing you the code, you know. That I wouldn't do. I'm not gonna show you all my code, but um, yeah, okay, yeah, we did. I did break that when I fixed the seat thing. Not a problem. I can fix it again. But basically, I have underwater, um, and everything, and this is going to be a river, but it's just testing right now, for the swim. You know, fun stuff like that. Not much to talk about. It's just been consuming an entire week trying to work out some different things for that. Um, anyway, we'll get over to the truck. I think IK is set up for the truck, and uh, we will even pull a trailer around. But first, let me make sure I can enter it because I literally tore apart all of my freaking locomotion and everything. All right, it's running. Uh, I was probably close enough already, but I do need to make sure I didn't break any of these systems just real quick. It's best to do it now, man. I can cut all of this out or leave it in. Okay, something that's not working is this reverse camera is supposed to switch to a pivot I have at the back of the trailer. My camera is also going to fight me as I try to look at that. It's supposed to go back here so that you can see that. So, um, I'm making a note of that for myself if I ever watch this. Things in the truck here are not polished of a thing. They are tester things. Um, yeah, as you can see, you can't really see the dash from here. Information is on it, but I need to adjust the steering wheel. The other thing I need to probably do is hide the vest when you're in here. I need to dial down the rotation of the steering wheel because he's really twisting his arms around there. It really doesn't need to turn that much. But we're hooked to the trailer, so I'll go ahead and give it a little pull. Just a little bit. And then we'll back it up. Um, the physics system is definitely not ready, but it's drivable. And it can pull a trailer. It just wasn't wanting to steer. I had fixed that, but I freaking guess I unfixed it at some point. You can tell the steering like looks like it's struggling. Some cool things is I built the flywheel that turns in there. It speeds up when the RPM speed up, and you can also see inside the front end. I have gears that actually turn in there when we're rolling, and I have the same in the back. We also have drive shafts that turn. Um, are my visuals really jank? Okay, that's fine. Let them be. We'll try to pull this thing around. I wonder if the reverse camera is working on this. Now, the way I have stuff set up right now, it's probably the way it's going to stay. I might or I might create a thing, but I want you to have to get out and feel like you're manually doing stuff sometimes. So you would have to come back here and hook this up. Before I do, we'll go ahead and walk into this thing. This is basically where you would save your game and have like a little mobile home that you would go out to places and stuff like that. So you have your little stove here to cook on. You got you a fridge, and I don't think you'll need it, but there is a shower back here somewhere. Back here, yeah. And then you have a little bed up top, right up there. It's just a tiny, simple thing. Um, the bed thing is probably where you'll be able to save your game and stuff. And I won't go into all the details of why everything is like it is and what all this is, but you kind of get some form of idea. Did I put collision on these steps? Okay, I guess I did because I didn't just fall through them. And up here, okay, good. Doors will open and all that. They don't right now. Okay, so if you're like, why didn't the door open? Don't worry about it, bro. It will, just not right now. So we're gonna hook up. When we hook up, I've animated where it folds up. So now it's in travel mode. And then when you detach it, it unfolds, ready to explore. Look how cool I did those fold out stairs. Oh crap. Yeah, yeah. I accidentally hit it, or an AI did. Right now, I haven't set up the thing where we avoid that, but I will soon. I think I have for that other trailer though. Anyway, we're going to put this thing in gear and give it a drive. You know what? I first should drive it without it, because I need to show y'all how this suspension and things work. You're going to think things are broken, okay? Because I have some travel. You know what? We can probably do it with that hooked up. I don't think I unhooked it. Still back there? Yeah. Yeah, so the reverse cam thing is... I mean, you can see the trailer here like this, but... this one might be okay, really. The boat trailer definitely needed to be fixed, though. It's got the dang tongue in the way. Alright, so we'll look out here, and we'll take this thing for a spin. And when we hit bumps, you'll start seeing this thing get a little bit loose with its suspension here. It's got a little too much travel, but also the custom suspension visuals that I built on this thing, these drive shafts are independent. You can think of them as they have splines in there. That's why each side has a gear, and there'd be other gears in there and things like that, but um, typically your wheels do not move straight up and down like games tend to portray. They move at an angled pivot, kind of like that right there. Not as dramatic as this, but if you've ever had an off-road vehicle and seen a Jeep climb up a rock or something like that, and you saw the wheel push like up upward at a weird angle as you're seeing these look like they bend like that. That's actually how real wheels do travel up and down. Not as dramatic as what this is. Um, so yeah. Um, there's a lot I gotta fix with this thing, but one of the systems that's hurting this vehicle is a safeguard that keeps it from flipping and spinning out and everything over hills. It's a little too strong right now, so it won't let me rotate too much. It's also what's probably fighting my steering. I don't know. I didn't set up a 0 to 60 on this like I did G-Roy and everything, you know? Man, I wonder what G-Roy's doing. I haven't seen that thing in forever. But that's for a different game. I was just trying to count by one Mississippi's, okay? One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, four Mississippi. Okay, good, I slowed it down. I was trying to make sure it didn't hit it in like 2 seconds because before I had this thing really being able to haul ass. It can still get up and go. That trailer is throwing me around a little bit because of the physics on it, physics on this. Everything has legitimate kind of physics. So far. Even my dang vest. That speed is in miles per hour. So we're really hauling ass right now. I was glad I'm able to drive this thing, man. For the longest time, I had my entire couldn't even walk around my scene anymore because I destroyed the locomotion and everything. And it's not 100% solid, you know, but hey, I'm getting it there, man. And it'll be fun to pull some stuff around and things like that. So the game, uh, I'm still not gonna give the title away. I almost did. I thought about it. I mean, it doesn't hurt if I tell you the name, bro. Maybe 4 people see this video ever, and we're solid, and it stays pretty much a secret until the game drops. But you know, it's coming, man. It's coming together. And an idea. There's going to be an island, sort of like what we're on, with things on it, creatures. Okay, um, is what I'll say without going into big detail. It's a survival game. It's also a fun exploration game at the same time. Um, and it has its own spin on everything. It is not like any other survival game ever. It's not like anything that exists. That's for sure because of things I can't say right now because I won't allow myself to. But I'm going to give you a few little ideas just by these few little visuals, and I'll explain something to you of why you saw the old gal out there. Now, the old gal is a fairy, all right? Um, the one you're going to haul things from place to place. Now, at the beginning of this video, I started at the warehouse. That warehouse is going to be in the middle of the ocean. It's going to be a midway point that is like safe ground for traders and things like that that bring supplies there and stuff like that. There will be a trailer like we see behind us here for different things, hauling things, maybe even things I won't get into yet, but there will be different kinds of trailers, and you'll have to forgive the jittery camera because of my collision thing. If we stay in first person, it'll be fine, and we won't bother it. But the idea is what we're going to kind of go over here and show just a little bit, even though this is not ready at all for any of this. This first try. Have not tested even driving up on this thing, but I guess we're good. All right. So you can park your vehicle and truck up here. A trailer. I think you can fit a couple of vehicles, maybe some other things if you need them for things. And this will obviously be in the ocean, and you will get up there on the bridge and be able to drive this thing. And since we're not in water, you can ignore that thing out there, bro. It's not anything. I mean, it's just a test building thing. Can I not get up this no more? Did I break? Oh, I bet I broke my. Okay, I can't jump either. That's fine. Don't need you, bro. Don't need you. I was gonna go up there and show you. It's a big empty room with just a bridge right now. So it wasn't going to spoil anything. Other than this is the old gal, and I mean that's kind of a spoiler. This ship. Uh, Let me get back in the truck, bro. We're not supposed to be out here in any of this. The doors and everything can open on my vehicles, but right now it's not important for stuff. Um, I spend far more time scripting and trying things out rather than just jumping in and being like, damn, why didn't I set up my door to open, bro? Which leads me to something I'm about to be building for people. So I'm not going to build a custom physics system and sell it yet. That is a very expensive system. There is nothing that exists like it for any game engine, but for Unity, I have built that said system, and it does not rely on a wheel collider. I can say that, but it is above expert level to tune that thing, and so I'm trying to create a version that is that you don't have to be a freaking NASA person to try to solve how to work out all the physics of it. Um, the El Gal, I can just fly over here and show you a quick look at her. Is a nice little setup thing that you can drive and be fun times. Hopefully, the boat. Have I ever showed y'all the boat, bro? The tri power boat, the Hellwave. I don't know if I have. The IK isn't set up on it, so we'll be setting Jink, but no worries. We should be able to fire that thing up. And I need to test that as well. But I'm going to stop development for or pause development for a week and build. If y'all ever seen the modded vehicle where I built Becky, I've upgraded Becky. And I'm going to turn her into I guess you could call it a training course or something that creators can buy, and it's going to come with. It's not just going to be a static model. I will set it up the Unity way with wheel colliders, not my physics system, most likely. If I put my custom physics rig on it, man, it would not be easy for everyone to use because obviously I could tune it a certain way and it would be solid before I sold this product. But if you're using it to learn from, it's an entire different learning curve that is so far beyond a wheel collider. So even a simple system could be difficult if I try to just throw something on it. I can build a system though that you can tune like a wheel collider, and I've thought about doing that because most people that even mess with that stuff might want to do some tuning. The idea of this thing is I'm gonna sell this vehicle and everything. People sell models all the time, like on CG Trader, on the Unity Asset Store. You can get these Unity packages or whatever. And my stuff, the way I create it is you can create a scene, pull in this asset, and it's got a prefab in it, and you just pull that into the scene you already have. You don't have to double click and open a Unity scene to load it. You literally just drop the prefab in, and you're good to go. Um, I've thought about though setting up an empty character controller like this so that you can get in and out of the vehicle and drive it around and things. I realize I'm jittering right now because I just remembered my swimming is broke, but luckily it's not too broke and I'm able to at least go across the water. Um, I'm hoping I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up on this boat though because I can't freaking. I broke my jump. Ah, I got it. I just kept spamming enter until I until I hit it. Okay.
Welcome to the Tri-Power boating system. Engines engaging.
So I don't know if I ever showed this boat or not. And you can ignore his pose. Like I said, I did not set up the IK for the boat yet. The profile is not there. But I guess it still works. So on it, it's got a cool, we have our digital screen and we have needles. You'll also note my vehicles have a overheat temperature thing, and the temperature gauge works, and it's a real thing. It's a full-blown health system. I am building a survival game, and since I'm implementing vehicles, the vehicles have a survival system in them. And it's one that makes sense once you learn the mechanics of it. It's not something that's too hard. It's very easy to handle. Fuel is a thing as well as coolant, and um, very easy to get those things. Maybe it is. I don't know. I actually don't know yet. But the idea of what I was going to show with this, because I couldn't show it with the old girl out there, is we can set cruise control and be cruising. Now, we can also walk around the boat while it's moving. I was going in a straight line, and we'll run out of water soon, but this is so that you can like fish off of it or swim, or like when you're in the, oh yeah, I forgot I changed this, so we might get stuck. And I need to kill the engine. Oh, it's not over revving, but it probably would be starting to overheat. Oh, now it's doing it. Turn off. I forget my keys, bro. Okay. Go ahead and get this back. I guess we just maintained all proportion there because it just launched me. Yeah, that's not supposed to do that. Trim is a thing, for real. So, like, you have your positive and negative trim. I was tapping it. I was used to the tractor thing. This one you can hold and adjust. And you can get your trim up, your trim down. And it works. If you know anything about trim, my trim does trim things. Except since it's a game, I'm able to give it a little bit of boost. It's like your turbo button if you know how to use trim. Or it could slow you down. Yeah, I changed this waterfall so it's not going to be able to get up it. Wait. Let me try this. Is it going to make a difference? Something to note, though, on my vehicles for my game that I'm building. If I rev this up, man, we are really pushing it harder and harder each time. Oh, that temp's gonna climb high. I can kind of show you. I've showed you on the Quixotic what happens when you overheat one of my engines.
I'm running hot. Please slow down.
This boat's a little bit more fancy with voices. It's a one-off thing. Come on, get up there, bro. Get up there.
Engines hot.
We can make it.
Reduce throttle.
Oh, we wasn't supposed to do that though. Wait. Do you have? Can you actually drive on water on land? Oh, well, who needs water, bro? You're not supposed to be able to do that. I'm glad that I can right now though. Did I not get enough force backwards? Come on, pull it, bro.
Ease off. Engines straining.
Oh shit, it's too late. Actually, that system's not working. It is working, I lied. Fuck. The gauge went way over there though, right there, man. Okay, now we try to start this thing back up. Engine. Oh shit, the engine got stuck in the freaking tilt thing. I can't try to start it. That's unfortunate. I'll need to fix that. So that if you overheat the engine or run out of fuel and you were in tilt mode, that it would reset back to your on and off engine. The other vehicles do it. I don't know why I didn't think of that for the boat. I honestly haven't spent enough time on the boat. I have to build a lot of things, man, because I'm building all this stuff myself, and it's a lot of fun. But I want my systems to be a certain way and all of that. So, globally, trying to make things all make sense with physics. The physics is a major thing that a lot of developers probably avoid for a damn good reason. Okay. This is a no joke system. The physics, especially when you create your own, then you're really playing with lava. Eventually it will be startable again. The cool icon things here are my check engine lights. The one on the right is your check engine. The one in the center is obviously your temperature. You can see the little thermometer. And the seahorse is fuel. There's a little word of fuel there. Can I walk here and see it? Right there. Yeah. I've not run any of these vehicles out of fuel yet, luckily, because I haven't actually set the fuel up to actually refill the tank yet. I was going to do that, and I built all of these other things instead of doing that because I think I can still pick up the canister, but I definitely can't fill up anything yet. I can attach it, and there's 3 different kinds over there for a reason as well. We won't get into any of the gritty details yet. It's way too soon for that kind of stuff, man. Also note, this isn't actual, I mean, it's not gameplay, but it's not your gameplay, really. This is just me debugging things. Will you be able to walk around on this boat? Yes. Will your character probably look different than the foreman? Absolutely. I'm the foreman here on the job site, bro. I should have put the foreman on the vest or whatever. There is... his shirt is a clue for something. Oh, you shouldn't have said it, bro. You say it and then they look for all kinds of hidden details. Man. This takes a minute to cool down, huh? It's so unfortunate that I didn't get to fire this thing up when it overheated. I'll do it because boy, is it something cool. I'll go ahead and tell you what I did. I was going to leave this as you'll figure it out for yourself in the game. And a lot of players will because not hardly anyone is going to watch this video. So that's good. But the people that do, y'all will have an insight on this system. At first, just like my other vehicles, when you're overheated or out of fuel, you have a failed start that kicks in, and I have an audio for it. So it sounds like the engine is turning over. You're hopeful that it's going to start, but it doesn't. And it's just to give you that dramatic feel because my game, I'll go ahead and give something away. If you're familiar with QuickTime events, okay? My game doesn't do that. My game is actually more cinematic based and it does things based on an RTC, which is a real time circumstance. So in real time, my game and my world is pretty alive. The creatures do their thing, they're trying to survive. You're doing your thing, you're trying to survive. You're not a superhero. They're not a superhero. You're in an environment that is also trying to survive. So you have to think about that when you play this game. And I really want to say the title's name every time because I have so much that goes with it, but trust me, the details are worth holding back. Um it's not a spoiler if I tell you the thing. If I tell you the title and I tell you the thing, it's not an exact spoiler. It would just be like, "Oh, that does sound interesting." But it's not like overly something that you're going to quite grasp the idea of. I'm holding off on sharing those kinds of ideas until I've actually implemented all of them. Everything that I've attempted so far has not failed though, and I've been thinking things that I thought were not going to be able to work have been able to work every time. They just have a unique way they got to get there. There is no tutorials for the kind of stuff that I build. You can't read a rule book to figure this out. You literally kind of have to have the idea and design things that way. Um, and that's why my game is a bit different with things. While we're waiting for this engine to cool down, if I had the thing that failed start, there's this thing that it starts and it's sputtering the engine here for this particular boat. And at first it was like it sounds like it's running and you were gonna try to push the gas, but then it pops like a backfire or whatever eventually and kills the engine. Well, then I went it back into my music studio and was like, but if I extend this a little bit, I think I could come up with a cool mechanic as a cooldown. Um, and here's why: the Quixotic, the truck, and the tractor have a fan that cools them down. The boat does not. It technically would have a tube that would feed water up through the engines to keep them cool, but not like a fan. So when your engines are off, you don't have that capability of trying to cool your engines down. You don't on those either, but the cooling is much more faster than what this one is currently doing. Um, Part of it might be because we're not in the freaking water anymore. But anyway, when you hit the failed start and it runs the idle rough thing, I gave it a thing where during that mode, you have faster cooling because it sounds like the engine is running. It's not the normal idle. If you paid close attention, which you didn't hear the sound effect I'm talking about yet, but if you're playing the game and you play close attention, you'll notice that it's not the same startup sound. Well, actually, it might be the same startup. The ignition is the same. I keep that the same so that we don't break it to be like, oh, I can hear the difference already. This one's going to start. I thought about that because I was testing. And so I went into my studio and I ensured that I kept the same ignition part is okay. But if we're catching some fire, like it's trying to start, like when you got a little bit too much air or too much fuel and, it's like a little sputtery, or you got a really busted engine, um, to keep it simple in explaining it. That's kind of like what this is. And it gives you a boost in the cooldown though, and then you don't have to wait as much. Technically, it runs for maybe mm, 5 minutes. Sounds like a bit, but it might be that long. And here's the other thing you got to think about, man. This is survival world. There are apex predators in the water for sure. Um, so you might be in a place where you're stranded and don't want to be. Come on, man. I wish I could. I don't want to have to run all the way over there with my broken ass swim thing. I could fix it real quick. I probably should. Let me fix it real quick. Even this is too much to show. Oh. Wait. How good am I? Terrible? Please? A little bit terrible? Oh. I guess I got it right. Okay. Well, shouldn't have been broken to begin with. I also don't know why I'm trying to swim. So, one thing you'll notice, it looks like we can't get above water. We are above water. My camera, the way it is currently, the transform is in front of his face. So, I need to fix that. Different offset probably when I'm underwater. Where are y'all walking to? You mind telling me? You trying to avoid me? I like your boots, bro. Mr. House. He's actually my test dummy, if I've never said that. So please, do not feed him, okay? He's just a test subject. As is everything in this scene, really, but this stupid mechanical keyboard. It's a pain in my ass, bro. I get to the point where I've been burning through keyboards like nobody does because I put in 18 hours a day on these things now. So I'm burning keys in two, literally. Um, so I had to get mechanical and double wrapped keys or something like that. Not wrapped, but I'm hella fucking tired, bro. It's for me. What time is it? 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I've kind of went over my 18 hours, but pushing out this video because I haven't made one in a while. Wanted to make one to talk about the things I was making, and I was gonna show off some things, but it's too late to show off a lot of things. So one last thing I'll do is the little boat thing. I hate that I had said the thing about the engine and didn't do it. It's also super quiet in this world, and I kind of like it right now, you know? I mean, there's no need to have sound effects right now for the wind blowing or trees or a jungle or ocean or water. Like, it's just us running around here, bro. By the way, don't mind them. They can walk on water, okay? But they're not Jesus. They don't have swim yet, is what it is. The thing about my swim, the way I have it set up in third person, is you look down and you can swim down, you look up and you can swim up. It's very intuitive. The cinematic one is even easier to control, but as you can tell, even with the K Forge version, when I rotate my camera left and right, he's able to swim those directions. First person mode is pretty much like, I guess you could say it's close to like a Subnautica or something like that. It's very controllable and easy to use as a first person swim should be. Now, the one thing I didn't probably, well, you can't jump in the water anyway, so I'll just have to get close and then hit enter. Okay, good.
Welcome to the Tri-Power boating system. Engines engaging.
Now, about that start system there, that only happens on a cold engine. Once you warm this thing up and you turn the engine off and turn it back on, you're not going to hear her talk every time. The idea of this boat, a boat this style in real life, believe it or not, is a few $1,000,000. That's not an exaggeration. It's what they cost. Um, so this version, since my game is based in a futuristic world, this boat is actually old in that world. Um, but the systems and everything like that it would most likely have is a bit of a voice talking to you. Are y'all trying to get on the boat? Y'all can't get on the boat, man. I didn't make that a thing. Let's play with trim a little bit here. Let's turn it all the way down. Let's see what top speed we get. Because at one time, this system worked. Looks like 80 or 90. Let me turn this boat around. Okay. Because I don't want to get stuck down that waterfall that I forgot. I was changing the pitch of it for a reason. Was blending it in to test some things. But I was not thinking about the boat when I was doing that stuff. I just want to see what my top speed on this boat is with trim all the way negative. It shouldn't be that. God dang, man. Does it make it harder to turn? I can't remember. Get in gear. I need this view so I can see the speed. Actually running faster than we should be, but these are super tri-motors. 85? That seems like ridiculous. Let's turn this up the other way. Then what is the top speed of this boat right now? 85 with negative trim at max. It does. No boat's doing that. Are we gonna be able to hit it? Oh, we'll probably hit our RPMs. 145. Oh gosh, don't go up that. Don't go up that. You're not supposed to. Set those engines idle down. So I have it where you can hold it or tap it using the decimals. It's going way too fast though. I probably tested it on controller and not on keyboard, and that's why. But I mean, if you're someone that likes trim, I got you for that. You know what I mean? The boat knows what I mean. Someone out there knows what I mean. Let me get this thing kind of turned around. And I could have pushed it up against something, I guess. I'm gonna overheat it. But let me make sure I'm not stuck over there on that, so we can actually hear the startup thing. And that's why we'll end this little thing, man, because it's a cool little effect, bro. We'll just circle around in the lake.
I'm running hot. Please slow down.
Yeah, we're doing backflips. We're not in the lake. We overshot it. It's fine. We'll land on our toes. I don't know if I'm going to be overheated out here, though, because I'm going to start pushing. It's my physics works, bro. That force starts building and building and building. We're micro moving. But we are moving. Can you tell? 'Cause I can.
Engines hot. Reduce throttle.
Yes, we know. We're trying to get them that way.
Ease off. Engines straining.
Okay, now we should be able to hit it this time. The RPM should have dropped near instant there, though. Not that slow little idle down it did. Alright, here we go. That was not it. One more. Also, you probably hear my dog snoring. That was not it either. Here we go. The money are jumping. Oh, how I love it. You'll notice though the cooling went down much faster with that effect. So you got a cool audio sound. You got that little rhythm you could have been dancing to, and you were actually cooling your engine down, even though it wasn't truly running. I made it like it was a real thing. It was just going to play that effect, and you're going to be trying to push your throttle forward, like, why ain't this thing going? That still is the case. You won't be able to drive it like in these failed states things, but you'll notice the check engine light is no longer on because we have cooled down enough that we can start it. So this time when we try to start it, it will start for us. You'll also notice she didn't speak because, like I said, once the engine is warmed up, we don't hear that. The only problem right now is we're supposed to be in the ocean technically. This would be ocean, but I have the ocean out right now. So, yeah. We're in a boat with no water. But at least we kind of look okay doing it, right? Just a little bit. Part of me wonders where those AIs are right now. They're doing their own thing because they have a little bit of, well, I won't spoil anything, but kind of a little. I built my own AI system, so they're not your typical game AI. We can just say that. What they're doing, I have no fucking clue. That is the truth. And that's what makes this game kind of fun too, is it's it's not going to be you're going to know what happens when you play the game every time. Because the world is alive. So I don't want to sound like overhyping, oh, the world's always changing. It's changing in the way if you go out in the woods that you don't know, deep in the woods or deep in the mountains, you don't know if you're going to get attacked or not. You don't know what's out there. Some days you might be fine, some days you might not be. My game amplifies that quite a bit because you can see something, it can see you, and it can decide if it wants to toy with you, if it wants to attack you, or if it just doesn't give a damn. And that's one big part of the AI's creature system that is pretty legit cool way, because if you think of most games, enemies AI, you're always getting attacked. It's like, oh, it sees you and it's just immediately attacking you. Immediate. Animals in the real world are not actually like that. People like to think that if you're in the water with a shark, you're obviously always going to get bit, but that's not the case. They think if you stand near a lion, you're always going to get eaten, but that's not always the case. There are times in even the animal kingdom in the real world that he's not hungry, so he don't care. He might not want you in his territory, so territorially you might get attacked. But my game does a thing just like that, except even smarter because my animals are smarter than the real world ones in their own way. There is a major reason for this. The game exists a long time from today, in the future, not in the past. Scientists have designed things with technology and things and have been experimenting and have created these types of things. So over time, animals and things have evolved because evolution is a thing, but it's not going to happen in the next 1,000 years that we'll see because we won't see 1,000 years from now. Um, People will, but not us, not anyone we know. So, like, I'm taking you into a futuristic world, but I am not taking you into a sci fi futuristic world the way you would think. What mine is science plausible, not science fiction. Um, it's based on things that can happen, could happen, and would happen in the right environment and settings. So when you see my character that looks like a real kind of person and he doesn't look like he's got freaking angel wings or alien faces or whatever, we're talking realistically. Realistically, you would if you believe sci-fi movies, you would think everything is going to look like the Thalion here. Now, this is the one thing that I allowed to be a thing. This hover car. It is so far in the future from where we exist. It's not. It's not impossible. It's science plausible. We just don't know the laws of the physics yet to pull that off. But that's not to say in the future a technology won't be created, okay? And perhaps it might be called deflection, just like I created here. But the technology can exist, does exist for these types of things that defy gravity or reshape it in a way that allows a machine to work. If you think in the very early days of our own age of time of what technology first started, like the farm out tractor here, which this wasn't the very first thing, but I'm using it as an old example. Eventually, we got wheels start rolling to create proportion across the ground. Later on, we got propulsion through the air with gliding wings. Then it's not you understand why it happens. Like if something's moving forward and then it can lift off, there's just not a lot of things that can lift straight up other than a helicopter because they need the blades to push things down. This has a system on it that knows how to push things in a way that it can travel through. This is why this works as a hover car, it works as a boat, and it works as a submersible because it is the um, most high end of what a vehicle's capabilities could be. But it can't pull trailers, so it's not the best vehicle to ever have. I didn't create a ball hitch on this thing for a reason. Could you imagine flying through the air pulling that thing? I mean, you might still be able to pull that off jumping over some hills and stuff. but yeah, it's reason or the reason why you're not like I would drive this and never need any other vehicles. That might be the case, but I mean, you're probably going to want to save your game somewhere sometime at some point. This is kind of an advanced scout vehicle, okay? This is a Cave Forge style scout vehicle, but it will have its reasons of something else that these other vehicles can't do. The three things I named of a hovercraft, a boat, and a submersible are three things that it can do that, well, a boat can do, but flying, just this thing. Um, Being a submersible, just this thing, other than yourself that can swim down. The vehicles like this you would need to pull your boat trailer. Now, why do I need a boat trailer with a boat? Okay, well, think of it like this. Say I have several islands, large islands, because we will. But you have your boat that can go down some river and fish into a giant lake, okay? Because there, even though there's an ocean on these islands, I'm creating these freshwater bodies. So, and this isn't uncommon. But you also have to think this game exists in a time that evolution has taken shape. The way the map is laid out right now for us in the US or any other country, back millions of years or billions of years or however long ago, the world was a lot different, right? It was shaped differently. Things weren't where they are today. The same thing is said in the future. So, like, we could be sitting in the middle of Texas right here, okay? No one's to say that this is false. Well, I am. I mean, how did Texas get so small? Probably because the rest of it fell off in the ocean. um, so that'd be California. If California was a thing, bro, this is probably what's left of California right here. Um, it's just one wee river and a tiny little lake. Yeah. So the idea is, the land could be different. All right. Now, we've got off track. So let me get back to on track. Why do we need the boat trailer? Okay, different water bodies, different islands. Ocean exists. You can't obviously drive your trucks and cars across the ocean. Now, I will have buoyancy on these, um, where you can cross a river. Um, likely, likely, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Um, we'll see what happens with that. So the old girl comes into play here. The old gal. All right. Now she's an old ship. Based on this game being as futuristic as it is, she is something like, I mean, the fact that even that old school like farmall looking tractor is here and exists is, it's a wild story. Yeah, we'll find it out. It's a wild story. But this ship also would be a survivor of something that has, been, I don't know, worked out to be a thing. Anyway, I'm getting off track still. You can drive your vehicles onto this with a boat. You load your boat onto a boat so that you can go to other islands with other water bodies and fish and things like that. You also would bring your truck and trailer. You would bring this because this is your mobile home. You will have an actual home if you choose to build one, but this is like an already, there's also going to be like, I guess you could say a prefab or an already built one for people that don't want to go deep into building a house, because my build system that I have is not your typical you grab a log and build a log wall. um as you can tell, you can build things, and I've dialed the system back, and then I've made it more advanced, and then I've dialed it back. So the build system I'm off and on about because I'm trying to build things that can snap together. So I have to build certain pieces that are kind of modular. And um, when I say simplifying it, I mean the building types. Like, because the thing is, I can update the game later on after it's released and create better things than the starter stuff if I choose to, or leave it like it is. It just depends. It depends on how well I do it and time, how much time I have before, you know dumping a bunch of time into something. If the game is like in a point that it's almost ready to at least be released, then I might hold off on finishing out the full additional system and ship it with one that works and go from there. This is my first actual game that I've built from the ground up. It's not the first one I started, because you'll remember me talking about Project Blackout. That game is still going to be designed. It wasn't canceled. This game is my classroom. I'm learning all the things possible, things that even I wasn't even going to push in that game. I wouldn't have learned these things, but I started building Project Blackout and quickly realized I don't know anything about making a game. But that wasn't the whole thing. I didn't know how to build the systems that I needed to build for the types of games that I'm going to build. Technically, Project Blackout's idea is a lot more simple than this game. This game is a lot more difficult. Um, as you can tell, vehicles. Now, of course, I could have just used wheel colliders and built a simple driving system. Why didn't I? Because wheel colliders can clip through the ground a lot, is the first thing. Well, you notice my current system, wheels clip through the ground. Yeah, but they're not supposed to. This right here could be rocks stacked up. I talked about this in another video and even showed it then with the Quixotic. But this, say, is your rock climbing thing that you got to get through. If a rock is stacked up this high, a wheel collider would hit this as a flat wall because it is a flat wall. My wheel will push up, drive up it, and over it like this, like a real tire would. It grabs, real friction, up and over, up and over, up and over. That should still be the case even with my very loose traveling suspension. But let me tell you, I had a solid type of physics system. I call it the dyno tire physics. First, I was going to build this dyno and really test physics on what I could do, but didn't. I modeled the dyno, didn't ever use it. The dyno name still stuck, so dyno tire physics is still the thing, but way more different than it used to be. There's a short clip of the video where I was driving a scavenger. It's that little UTV side by side. I was testing it in a URP scene. This is HDRP right here. The game will be built on HDRP pipeline. My custom setup one. So in this, we barely have a sky fog volume. I have a legit one, but it's not needed in this test scene. And trust me, it's got real volumetric clouds. It's a real system. So what you see here is nothing but a test thing. I think the ground would tell you that because it's just a texture and no trees or bushes in sight. That's intentional because when I'm testing vehicles and stuff, I need room. I need room to be able to flip around before I throw obstacles in that are going to cause it to. When I built the URP scene, I built a full-on test arena with a giant sphere that you could drive and do loop-de-loops in. I built a giant half-like sphere that worked as a half pipe for a vehicle. I built rumble strips. I built rumble strips that are going upward, like you're doing a hill climb, or like, what is that game? Up or Don't Look? Not it's a movie, a show. What was that game that's you keep going up and up and up like a challenge, jump puzzle type thing? But I was doing it with vehicles. And I wasn't doing it to build that type of kind of game. I was doing it to test a type of physics system that could handle that type of thing. In theory, my vehicle could handle not a jumping puzzle, but a climbing one. Not a jumping one because I didn't put hydraulics on this thing. If you ever saw the blue whale that I had hydraulics on, let's see if this thing can even do this anymore. Okay, it can. Now you can see how I look floaty. That is my system that is fighting the body roll. You want a stabilizer on vehicles so that you don't roll over and flip, but this vehicle can still tornado and stuff if you hit things just right, because I don't have it dialed in. I built this version in a hurry, got a lot of travel that I did like the travel part of it, like where it really looks like we're bending the wheels here. The problem is going downward, it's not hanging down. So I had this droop system that would allow that travel, but it was actually affecting the. It was only supposed to be for visual, but the way I set it up, I accidentally was actually controlling spring in a weird way. So it, was a little bit weird. Anyway, as you can, if this was a wheel collider, it would not climb up these. And most people know this. Most games that use wheel colliders have a different type of thing that either does it or they build their collisions where they have some form of slope that a wheel collider can detect, or they add additional ray, whatever they may do. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, okay? And not one single way is the correct way over the other. It's what you can get working and what you can get working best. That is always going to be the thing to go to in any game design of any mechanic that you're trying to pull off. That is the golden nugget that I could give you for anything. No matter if you're trying to, if it's character design, like beyond modeling, because a lot of creators, they're either modelers, or they're system designers, or they're animators, or they're like strict codes, or um, all the different kinds. This is why you have giant studios that build big games. It takes a lot of different skill sets to be able to tackle all of these systems. I don't have that. It's just me. So I'm the one building all of my stuff, and I'm going to build as best I can, what I can, how I can. That's why everything I build is very unique, and has the KForge branding on it. The KForge is my creative name. It's what my game developer name is going to be, and it's going to be my brand for all future projects and stuff like that too. So if you get something that's KForge, you'll know that I built that. I did not like rip a model off out of a game or whatever and do all of the jank stuff. I didn't hire a team of people. A vehicle like this model I did buy off a CG Trader, and I customized it to fit my game, and I put some cool lights on it. But I did not engrave KForge on any of this stuff. It would have to be something that I actually completely either built or created. Even the modeled things back here, they didn't say Fluxion. They weren't textured like this. It was all just plain things. You would normally hire someone that can use a 3D software like Blender or Max or 3ds or whatever their go-to is for designing things and pulling models apart. You can buy models; they aren't separate. Like some have the wrong idea and think you can buy a model and it has lights and everything all ready to go, but that's not true. You can try to find one. You're going to spend a lot more money on that, but even then, you're most likely still going to be putting your own stuff on it. So what my goal is in this next week is to build Becky the first truck that is going to be kind of a learning tool for new creators and stuff that want to try to get into seeing how different things work. Things that she'll have is like blinkers will work, headlights will work. I'll make her drivable. I will probably most likely for that first basic system use wheel colliders because it's the first thing you should start with. And I can build way beyond what I'm going to do, but the way it's going to be for her, and for her, the way I'm going to sell her is for an educational, or like if you're a hobbyist and you like putting things in your projects, but you don't want to do all the coding because it's a nightmare, and you're correct, it really is. There's no easy way to say it. Um, I've got your back. I mean, I'm going to create something that is going to really you'll be able to drag this vehicle into your scene and drive it around. And that's what it will start like. The model itself, I'm going to sell it as a Unity package and everything. It's unlike anything that you would typically see in the Unity store. And I can show you that if I go to Blender. Pretty much done with this thing. So let me just open up Becky. Some may remember her, some may not. Let me just go ahead and see it. If for some reason you're already driving this truck in the future, and you stumbled across my YouTube channel now, this is where it came from. Built it in here. Actually in different scenes. I've I've exported and put this thing in other scenes so many times. Now you'll notice she looks quite wild for a specific reason. Basically, these tires are wild because these are kind of going to be a visual gizmo debug without a visual gizmo debug. It's like the 3D version of the best world. You'll be able to really tell what these tires are doing. A lot of times in games with tires are just black and everything, and this is just black, you can tell that wheels rotate a lot of times in games like this on a pivot instead of on a pivot like offset, like my wheels always rotate on an offset pivot like a real wheel would. It's a different turning thing. The visual example is this: you can steer like this left and right, your physics are doing that. You can steer like this, hold on, and you have more of a different thing. This isn't a good enough example, but um, because of the way the transform was on that thing. What I should do to show this correctly is real quick create the actual thing. I'll just move this out. We'll say that I have a connected joint here for the thing. Now when I rotate my wheel on that steering pivot, you can see that it steers more like a real wheel. Now, obviously this tire is big, so we're clipping into the fenders. This isn't a visual thing. You would want your tires to be that big, unless you didn't care about clipping through fenders. But most of you would if you were building something that looked very good, you would want it to stay looking very good. So it's important to also note that. But games even like Forza, most likely, if they do steer on a pivot, I don't even know if they do. They if you turn your wheels left and right and they look like this, they are steering their wheel collider or whatever right there on its own axis. Visually, it doesn't mean that's what they're doing physics side. Physics side is a different world of it. Physics, you kind of offset steering by saying you create, there's different ways to do it, but one way is to like oversteer and understeer. You can control that. It's not something you have unless you create it. Otherwise, you have hard, sharp steering if you have a lot of grip. You have to build these other systems out to have oversteer and understeer. And then, like you saw my truck earlier, looking like it was struggling to turn, it didn't have enough steering. So, a little bit of the underside. If it was oversteering, it would be really not good either. But this is going to be Becky, and the vehicle itself, the model, is going to look like this. That is typically the models that I've seen are pretty static, and low poly versions. You can run this in HDRP, this vehicle, and it is not going to cost your performance any different because Unity can actually handle a lot. Everything you saw in my HDRP scene a while ago, I had that Thalion there, I had the truck, I had a boat trailer, I had a boat way out yonder, I had a massive 5 or 6 story building back there. I had the giant, the old gal there. I had a river running. Um, by the way, all of those vehicles stuff, the physics were active on. Otherwise, they would just be falling through the ground. So that tells you that my system is actually cheaper than Wheel Colliders as performance cost wise. The models Unity can actually handle a lot. A game engine can handle a lot more than a lot of people were afraid to test. Um, the times that it doesn't handle things very well is if you're animating something or putting rigid bodies on things, because when you're moving something, yes, your GPU and your CPU things start getting the weight of that. If you have good enough CPU and GPU, you're fine and you're going to be fine. If you're trying to build a game on a very low end system, I would not recommend using anything like what I have here. I would not recommend building a game on a low end system unless you're doing a tabletop or a simple phone game that graphics and things are not the biggest idea or like cost of things. The kind of game that I'm building, very immersive, very open world, lots of physics and things like that. The engine can handle it just fine. It's what it's designed for. um a lot of this stuff, a reason why you don't see a lot of this stuff in games is it's a lot of freaking work. Um there will be fans inside here that rotate, and things like that. The suspension is going to be completely changed. This I pulled off of a model, and it's not something I'm going to ship it with. It's going to have a different suspension system. That's why it's still setting in Blender for now. But it kind of, one of the things I hope that this vehicle will do is give creators inspiration, um and things like that, because when you're deep in a build, sometimes it's hard to freaking catch a break. You don't have time. You don't have time to do anything but build what you're building. And sometimes, though, if there's a cool new mechanic thing that you can test out, you would want to do that. So, like, I'm going to have an animation that runs for the steps when you walk up to it. And these are going to pull out and have that cool thing. And then when you get in, they'll tuck away. The same with the door. I will most likely have a trigger zone. Wait, I got to grab the actual thing. I'm going to run a trigger zone because what I'm trying to create is something simple of controlling it, so you can tell how these different things can work. You're not going to have to jump into the script or anything to change anything. You can do that to learn things, but you're not going to have to do it to see any of the stuff work. It's going to work right out of the box. So when you walk up to the truck, I'll have an area, and it will open the door for you. You'll be able to get in, you'll be able to start the engine, you'll be able to drive it around, you will be able to kind of see what the vehicle looks like in whatever kind of scene you're doing. Maybe people will use it to drive around their worlds they're building. Um, a lot of times people just create characters or fly cameras or whatever to do it. I think it's cool to have different ways to traverse your world, even if you're not trying to build vehicles in your game world. It's just a cool thing to have different perspectives of, because it might spark an idea for yourself of what you're going to try to create next for it. I mean, um, a lot of systems are very hard to do, but not everything is impossible to do. There's always a way to do everything. This fuel cap can open up. The cap here, if you were going to implement this in a gameplay thing, I have it separate. I have the one over here separate for things like that. I need to separate the oil cap there, and then all the caps will be done. Um, the tailgate can open as it should. Doors can open as they should. The lights will work, and it will have cool light effect, really, because it will show high beam, low beam, blinkers. I might use these as blinkers or fog lights. It depends on how far I go. The cool logo I have on the side is actually doubles as a running light and a blinker that will blink. And this is the Becky Longhorn edition. If I didn't say Becky earlier, this is Becky. She's got the patina paint job, and her body is a little rough on purpose. I even cut out some holes in my bed so that it looks like she has been around, you know? Um, and the textures and stuff will be easy to change if you would wanted to. I mean, you could just change the body color. You could change these tires where they're not multicolored. Um, you could even like just change the entire wheel if you wanted to with a different model. You know, it you will be able to play around with it easily, and not have to worry about trying to throw it into Blender and separate parts out like that, because that's not what it's for. It's going to be a built truck that is ready to go, that's going to show dash things. It's going to show, probably I might even throw the reverse camera on it. I will probably hook up mirrors and everything like that, so that you'll get the idea of how those systems work and things like that. And since there's not a lot of stuff like that, I feel like it's a good thing to build and have a little side money in the pocket, since I'm funding my entire game myself and building it myself. And all of that. And it's the way I want to do it because I want to learn every detail of what I need to know to build all of the future games I'm going to build the best that I can. Um, so I'm not throwing jank shit in, okay? When you see my scenes and I'm running around and things are a little sloppy or whatever, that is your typical game dev thing that you're doing all the time. Sometimes you have things running buttery smooth, then you implement something or try to change something and it breaks a lot of systems because you weren't paying attention or you were tired or you were pissed off because it kept giving you whatever kind of issues every single time. A lot of things can happen. But I might build 10 different vehicles and sell them um and have them set up or whatever. It's something I've not done. I mean, I have a warehouse of vehicles and stuff, okay, that I train myself on, just like my systems I build inside of Unity. I have 10 terabytes of different things, um, of how much different things that I have. And I work fast, and 18 hours a day is a you have to be a certain kind of person that has a certain kind of time and be able to have this certain kind of drive to be able to pull something like that off because technically not getting 8 hours of sleep all the time, mostly six. And not every, like, some days I will take a full day of trying to not do anything, but I end up, my brain is like, we got to get something done. Just go model something or go do this or that. But I take breaks. I mean, I'm not overworked in what I'm doing, but anyone else 100% would be. And the solution to building a game is not 18 hours a day. What I'm designing at the depth that it is and everything that I have to come up with is taking that much time. It will not continue to be that way forever, but I'm getting a lot of things done in a positive way. And so, when I do put in that time, um it's good for my game and it will be good for the audience of players that will finally get to play the game when it comes out. Um when that happens. So that's the idea of this truck and everything, man. If I include this in the video, this is Becky. I kind of gave you the idea of why I'm selling it. Uh because I'm not just selling the truck like this. I mean, most people sell models already done. But, strangely, there's not a lot of high end models for Unity that I've noticed. I don't know if there is for Unreal. I know there's probably a large things of that, but I don't work with Unreal. I work in Unity because I choose to. It's my workflow, and I pretty much know how to do anything I want to do in there. If I did work in Unreal, I would still be having to script everything. It'd be the same workflow, but I would have the learning curve of what do I have to turn off that is running that doesn't need to be running all the damn time because engines are filled with a lot of shit you don't need. They're doing things that are costing you things that it's a pain in the ass, man. Um, but cool stuff can be made and should be made. Like, I'm not building a niche when I'm building my stuff. I'm not building an already known niche. I'm kind of creating a new area of a game and gaming. It's not your typical we've done this a million times scenario. You did not crash land here and the game mechanics are not your typical stuff. So it will be interesting. All right. It will be very immersive and fun to play in the end. At least we all hope so, right? But I've learned a lot in the time that I've started. A year ago I knew nothing about building a game. And now today here I am starting to build things to help other creators get inspired or learn from. I have a certain kind of mind though that I've always had creativity and it's always seemed like it wasn't ever fully unlocked. It always seemed like that's why I've always liked creating music, and I like creating art stuff and all of these other things, but I never knew about modeling thing. Hell, I never even knew how to use Blender. This was an entire learning curve to even learn what I do in it, but I got it to work for me, and it's what I use for all of my modeling stuff. Um, I'm not going to say it's the best or the worst anything. I've learned how to use the tool, and I use it as a tool, just like anything. So, you know, it's also good though. I've built things in real life, so I could build this truck in real life from the ground up. I know everything about vehicles and stuff because I grew up as a kid tearing them apart and rebuilding them and all that. Just like your everyday mechanical person, um, that was what I liked doing. So, doing it in this form is way different. And rigging them up to drive and work is the problem is I know how they're supposed to work, and the script doesn't understand that because you're working in a physics engine. The physics is fake. All games are fake. You have to build the fake with the fake to make it true. And I know that doesn't hit a lot of this makes sense. Some people, some of that made sense. But when it comes to physics, the best advice I can give you is you have to build a system that simulates real because the engine is simulating a real world of gravity and things like that. Um, yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not easy, but I've become a system designer. Um, Overnight, really, it just kind of happened. It just I was talking and just started creating and learning more about it, and it turned into being able to create some cool stuff. I started with just modeling some stuff first, and I used these vehicles like in mods or whatever, driving them around just myself for personal things. And I could see the limitations of their games that I wish I could do more in. And in my mind, I've always wanted to create my own game, but I never had a solid idea of what it was. And now I have 3 to 4 solid ideas of games that I could build. But the current one I'm building is the classroom to teach me a lot of the groundwork of things, but at a level that's pretty much at an elite tier because of the that's what I'm shooting to do. I guess it's what I need because I know I'm not trying to build your basic shooter or your basic survival where you pick up a coconut and drink it and that's your surviving food. Mine is a little more depth in depth. I'm sure you saw the rack of ribs on the boat. Anyway, man, I will talk more about that stuff later on. Um, there's a lot of details of the game that I want to tell y'all, but they would make more sense when I can show the things and everything like that and have slept. And I'm taking the entire rest of the week off, so I'm not working on the game. I'm not going to be pushing 18 hours for the rest of this week, maybe not even the rest of this month. Um, I'm going to get some things built and switch my workflow up a little bit, man, because I've been going pedal to the metal from the beginning of the year till now. A little bit of the end of last year, I started diving into it a little more hardcore in the hours, but um, I was just giving y'all an update, showing you some cool stuff, and hope everyone's good out there, man. Maybe you enjoyed this. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you've had an interest in building a game or whatever. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. Maybe you just like to play them. That was me for the longest time, but every time I would play games over the years, I would always note the things that was seemed like a jank mechanic or just didn't seem like why is this as far as everything's going? Now that I've been building a game fully myself and not just talking about games and playing games, it's hard to even play games anymore, man, because my developer mind comes into play while I'm playing, and it's a different world because now I kind of understand how all of the stuff is working when I play any game. Um, and some of the bigger games that I thought were very impressive at the time, they they are, but what they are pulling off is a simple thing that seems more impressive than it actually is. And that's the cool thing. Like, um, it's not magic to me anymore. I kind of know those things, and I know better ways of building things too. Um, so that's always a good tool to have. Until next time, which may be a bit all right, but I'm still here. I'm still working and doing stuff. Maybe I'll take a time off and play a game again someday. I don't know. Right now though, it's just been trying to build a pretty cool thing. So until next time, adios.